Good evening and welcome to the Racing Paradise Truck Series Championship. Round 4 takes us to Kansas Speedway. 100 laps lie ahead of the drivers around this 1.5-mile course. We should be in for some entertaining action over the course of the next hour and a half. I am Tom Cairns in the commentary position. Alongside me is Hamish Munro, who'll be with me to analyse the action and get his thoughts as the evening goes on. Under the lights once again, like we were at Richmond last week, where Josh Lambert made it a hat-trick of wins. He's virtually assured of a place in the playoffs from the end of the season. We'll go down on the standings in a moment. Let's bring Hamish in as we are closing in at the end of practice, as we see the drivers just getting their mileage in before qualifying does begin. Hamish, welcome. How are you?
Good, Tom. I do apologise as well to anyone out there watching. If you hear some banging or some grinding in the background, we've currently got some work going on here, so I do apologise, but it shouldn't take much longer to hear that stuff happening. I've been assured it's going to take 5 minutes outside my door, so hopefully it doesn't happen for too long. But I'm excited for tonight. Get to do some track action out at Kansas, a track that I got to call most recently a couple of weeks ago, and it was a fun time, and I'm excited to see what the trucks can do here tonight.
And we've got a lot of drivers ready to go. 39 in total. Randy Corrier is the only driver who's yet to get a time on the board in this practice session. And in regards to the standings, well, in terms of who will qualify for the playoffs, well, Josh Lambert's got 3 victories to his name. Brandon Cowell's in 2nd place in the standings, along with Will Weaver in 3rd place. We've got Brendan Hossinger in 4th, Tim Johns 5th. There's Jacob Nagel, John Gardner Senior, Rick Modric, Robert Chappell, Charlie Stutzman, Zach Tucker and Brandon Hoff. The drivers in the top 12 that are currently in position to qualify, but we've still got 7 rounds to go before that is decided. The drivers who are waiting in the wings to take their places, they're the likes of Mike Siegler, Kane Logston, Rudy Haag and Casey Cotterman. So there's that to look forward to. And also the in-season tournament, which has reached the last 16. And the winner and the runner will receive cash prizes at the end of that. In case you wondered who is facing off who, well, tonight Josh Lambert is facing off Chris Chadwick, John Gardner Senior, that is. He's up against Will Weaver, Joseph Phelps against Rudy Haag. We've got John Fowler taking on Zach Tucker, Robert Chappell against Chris Randall, Casey Cotterman versus Aaron Blackburn, Juan Velez against Mike Siegler, and Tim Johns against Dave Peterson. If they finish ahead of their rival in their respective head-to-heads, they will qualify for the quarter-finals, which will be staged at Daytona next week, as well as the regular season of this Racing Paradise Truck Series Championship. So a lot to discuss over the course of this evening.
Yeah, the practice session just comes to an end here, Tom. We look to get into qualifying now for the next few minutes. Lone qualifying for these drivers as well, so we'll see how they do rolling around this Kansas Speedway.
Absolutely so. And for those who are wondering who has taken poles so far this season, well, Josh Lambert has taken 2 poles out of 3. Brandon Cowell picked up the other one in Pocono in round 2. And a rundown on the regular season calendar. For those who are wondering where they'll be racing at, well, we've been to Michigan, Pocono and Richmond. Tonight is Kansas, then we'll be racing on the oval of Daytona. Next to Darlington, Texas on September the 1st, and it's Iowa for round 8, National Super Speedway on the 15th of September, and then the final round of the regular season will be in Kentucky on the 22nd of September. We will know the top 12 drivers qualifying for the playoffs. The last 12 will face off in Las Vegas on September the 29th, and then the final 6 will go into combat at Chicagoland on October the 6th, where we'll be crowning our champion there.
We've got Josh Lambert on circuit at the moment as he just prepares for his run here in qualifying, so we'll see if he can get himself another pole position this season. He went with a 31.2 on that first lap, so a bit of time to be gained from him. Andrew Kiesler in the Tundra just gone up to the top of the timesheets with a 30.66 as well in this qualifying session, so times are going to come down fast, but if you're Lambert and you want to try and maximise on what you did last week, then well, he's going to have some work to do here in qualifying, Tom, if he hopes to get his car further up the grid.
Absolutely, and then they usually have like a couple of laps max really before their tyres fall off the cliff, and Josh Lambert does go to the top of the timing pages with a 30.54, narrowly quicker. Say that Brandon Hussinger has now gone to the top, so a lot of work to do for Josh Lambert if he is to make it 3 poles from 4 races this season. And there we see.
He's just backed out of it, so he's not even going to have an opportunity to do it. He's done his 2 laps, and P2 is going to be as good as he can get. Unless someone can challenge him from further back in the field, then it will still be a front row start for Lambert, and it will be a top 3 lockout at this stage for the Toyota Tundra, but not much more you can do than that. I mean, you know, P2 misses out on pole by 0.02 of a second, Tom. It's by the barest of margins, and if you're Josh, you hate to see it, because you know it could have gone either way. Could have been a little dip of the throttle, could have been a little dip of the brake, and that's cost him here in qualifying.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's just by the narrowest of margins. John Fowler has gone up into 3rd position. Now, John Fowler apparently brings the heat and the humour with the Cowtails machine built by Complete Graphics. Always a fan favourite and always unpredictable. So best of luck to John Fowler with that in his latest car. Now, John Fowler, in case you want, is in the 54 Chevrolet. In the field is currently in P3 ahead of Kane Logston. Andrew Kiesler in 5th place, and it's Zach Tucker in 6th position with the number 1 on the front of his wagon. We're just seeing more times coming in, although I think the drivers may have gone off the cliff with the set of tyres they're on. I don't think we're seeing too many more looking to improve, although Michael Siegler is coming round to complete his latest attempt. Is he doing enough to improve on his 30.782? I can tell you he is not. He has improved, but only by a few positions. He's got up into 27th place. Jeff Dillon on circuit now as well. Now there's 2 Dillons in the field. We've got Jeff and we've got Pete, who has not gone out onto the circuit in this session yet. They've only got 40 seconds to go, so Jeff Dillon will want to make this count if he's to get high enough on the grid, unless he's done both of his lap times. I think he's done his 2 laps, so I don't expect him to improve. He is sitting in a fine 8th position. Here's Jeff, the man from Millersville, and I think we've more or less reached the conclusion of that qualifying session, Hamish.
Yeah, we have indeed. You know, majority of cars have set times. The bottom 3 of Sean Richenberger, Chris Melton and Pete Dillon have not set times here in this qualifying session. Randy Corrier is out there at the moment, but he's yet to set a time. And with the clock striking midnight on his opportunity, he's now lost out and will start at the back of the field. So Brandon Hussinger takes pole position here tonight. It's Josh Lambert on the front row of the grid. But we know Kansas, Tom. We know it can be a little bit hairy, and I think more so than anything, cautions could be a factor tonight. But hopefully we're going to get him for a nice clean race.
And so we should be. Let's run down on the grid then for the 100 laps here at Kansas Speedway. Brandon Hussinger on pole position for the first time this season with Josh Lambert alongside. Then we've got John Fowler and Kane Logston on row 2. Andrew Kiesler and Zach Tucker on row 3 with Jeff Ferdinand and Jeff Dillon on the 4th row. Then it's William Ridgway and Bryant Nagel on the 5th row ahead of Jacob Nagel and Joseph Phelps. Then it's Matt Morrison and Martin Henry on the 7th row. Dave Peterson and Charlie Stutzman on row 8, Robert Chappell and Joshua Hogue on row number 9. It's Brandon Huff and Chris Randall rounding up the top 20. Barry Acker and Tom Ridgway on row 11, ahead of Casey Cotterman and Alex Young in 23rd and 24th. Then it's Rick Modric and Brandon Cowell in 25th and 26th positions. They have a lot of work to do this evening. Michael Siegler and Will Weaver are on row 14. Then it's Tim Johns and John Gardner Sr. on the 15th row in the field. John Walker and Ryan Walker are 31st and 32nd. And it's Aaron Blackburn and Juan Velez in 33rd and 34th. Then it's Rudy Haga and Trent Richard on the 18th row of the grid, followed by Chris Melton and Pete Dillon in 37th and 38th on row 19. Randy Corrier and Sean Reichenberger are shown as 39th and 41st, which means that Dylan Bird, who didn't even take part in qualifying, he's at the back of the field. I don't know if they'll be taking the start, in all honesty, but we'll find out soon enough.
Be interesting if John and Ryan can walk their way to a positive position tonight from the 16th row of the grid, Tom. I'm not proud.
I should think so.
I'm not proud of that one, if I'm honest with you. That was a really, really low par on my behalf. That was about as low as the jokes get. But I'm interested tonight, though. Do we think qualifying is going to be as important as some other circuits possibly this season thus far? I mean, Kansas is high speed. Try and get into a line of stern with the cars around you, but I think as well we could definitely see a couple of battle packs forming across this field.
I don't feel that qualifying matters too much. I mean, providing you make the most of the strategy in front of you, because they have an allocated set of tyres they can use. I think it's 2 sets of tyres they've got on them should they need to replace tyres. When they do come in, they're not obviously changing tyres all the time. It's most of the time that they're pitting in for fuel. So they're going to have to go something like 20-25 laps before they even think about changing tyres. Just depends on the nature of the race itself with all the cautions. We've had at least 8 cautions in each of the opening 3 rounds so far, so don't be at all surprised if we get a repeat of that this evening. The safety car lights are off and we are gearing to go for the 100 laps at Kansas Speedway. Can Brandon Hussinger hold off Josh Lambert to the victory and end Lambert's run of wins tonight? The green flag is waved and we are go here in Kansas. Hussinger leads the way ahead of Lambert and Lugston and Tucker, and I think Fowler's lost 2 positions from his starting spot. And the field make their way through turn number 1, and it's so far so clean from the pack. And Hussinger getting off to the best of starts. He's got Lambert right behind, looking to take the customary position that is been pretty much his domain so far this season. But Hussinger has been able to fight back through turns 3 and 4. He's back into the lead as the first lap is out. Good start so far, Hamish.
Yeah, good start so far. Nice. Caught me at the wrong time. I'm so sorry. Laryngitis is not my friend at the moment. Nice clean race start. Bit of a scramble, obviously, as it often is at these ovals. But they got away nice and clean, which is good to see. No caution on the first lap, which we like as well, Tom. So these guys are just going to get in their rhythm now. Hopefully sitting maybe 2 lines astern all the way back and then try and gain some positions. But momentum's going to be their friend tonight. Getting into their rhythm's going to be their friend as well. And I think whoever can carry the momentum properly and get into their rhythm nice and early, those are the drivers who are going to do well. You mentioned the fuel strategy and the tyre strategy tonight. I wouldn't be surprised at all if around those first tyre pit stops, around lap 25, you said, if we see drivers only taking right side tyres, because they may not need left-hand side. Oh my God, Fowler, how did he catch it, Tom? No idea, but he's dropping positions now like a kid dropping a ball, and he's got to try and get back into the swing of things.
You could just see the domino effect behind. It's like one driver lifts off and another driver behind has to lift off. It's all pandemonium further back, but somehow they all managed to keep pointing the right way. I thought that was going to be a caution. It looked like contact between him and was that Keisler he came to go, or came along, so I couldn't quite tell. It might have been Josh Lambert, So I thought it was the 2nd and 3rd place drivers that came together. But Fowler was able to continue on as dropped down to 9th position, make that 10th as the 48 seems to be swapping places with him. There is number 48 in the style of Jimmy Johnson. That livery there. It's a very lovely livery, I have to say.
It translates well. It translates really well to the track.
So Hussinger leading the way still ahead of Lambert. There's a long way to go just yet. All 41 drivers still running. Good to see at the moment. Run down on the head-to-heads further down the line, maybe during a caution or something, just to find who is beating who to earn their place in the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament, which will carry on at Daytona next week.
That's going to be a big one. A massive race next week at Daytona. That's going to be a major race for these drivers. One that I think a lot of them will want to win as well, Tom, just for the notoriety of winning at Daytona. You think of tracks like Daytona, Charlotte, or Talladega, and whenever you go there, everyone wants to win because all of a sudden they've got it next to their name that they won at a super speedway, and an iconic super speedway at that, in the world of stock car racing, whether it's NASCARs, Xfinities, Arcas, or even NASCAR trucks as well. So that'll be, big factor race next week, and I think there'll be a lot of drivers who'll be hoping to take out that victory.
Absolutely, a prestigious event for these drivers as far as iRacing is concerned, and most certainly for this series. Of course, the big prize they all want to be winning, as far as the championship is concerned, is right at the season's end at I think it's Nashville Super Speedway or somewhere like that. I'll have to re-jog my memory with the calendar because there was so many rounds I had to run through. But either way, I'll be focusing on what's in front of him. That's this evening here in Kansas. But Lambert making it, well, I'll say Lambert now. He's in the lead over Hussinger. He's dropped to second position. He's now got Andrew Keisler, who I believe is competing in his first race this season. I don't think he's competing in the last 3 rounds, did Keisler. But he's making his way past Hussinger for P2, albeit momentarily, because he's now basically at the bottom of the banking, and Hussinger will have the high ground when they go through there. And it looks like Kaiser's got the upper hand on Hussinger, so Hussinger's losing a little bit of time here, but it is Lambert who leads.
Yeah, just dropping, getting caught offline out of the toe as well, and that's costing Hussinger at the moment, running that high line. And I think the issue now is with him running that mid to high line as well. Yes, he's not risking obviously getting the car loose when they come down onto the apron to cross the start-finish line, but he's going to start wearing those tyres out fairly quickly running up on that midsection of the track. So he's got to try and get in line here because he's dropping positions every single lap by running that tactic. He's already dropped 3 spots in the span of about a lap and a half, and he could be under pressure here from William Ridgway to get past him as well. So I don't know how this is going to pan out for Brandon, but he could very quickly, Tom, get dropped out of the top 10.
He very quickly could. If we don't get a caution in the first 25 laps, that's going to really force a lot of drivers' hands to make a pit stop.
Chris Randall, Lee Hagen had an off track, and the yellow flag has been thrown. Let's have a quick look at how this has occurred. Oh my God! Well, Tomato will be feeling like he's just been hit by one of those tractors that he tips over out in the paddock, because that there is as wild as it gets. And for Chris Randall, really nowhere to go for him there, Tom, off that moment. It was like, oh, there was actually initial contact earlier on. It knocked, I think it was Rudy down onto the apron and in the way of the Mobil 1 car. So an early caution for us here. We mentioned it, and it comes out. Lap 12. I wonder if we see anyone jump in pits now just to take some fuel.
Yep. So we have our first caution of the race in Kansas. And so far, I don't think Sean Reichenberger made the start, unfortunately. So he's out of it, effectively. Jeff Dillon is down a few laps. But if he's lucky enough, he could possibly use a few cautions to make the most of a lucky dog. Get back on the lead lap, but he's got a long way to go before he can think about doing that, and we are starting to see pit stops involving virtually everyone. Yeah,
it makes sense. I mean, you get it for free, under caution, might as well come in, take the fuel. Wouldn't take tyres at this stage, I wouldn't think, Tom. You could probably go maybe another 20 or so laps before you need to take tyres. We mentioned lap 25 was when we thought they would come in and take them, but if you're coming in for fuel now, then you might as well go until the tank's empty on this next stop. Aker, Cal, Modric have all stayed out. Lambert has only taken fuel. The only driver I can see that is taking tyres is Tim Johns, in the Ford a bit further back in the field. So he's at least taken one side of tyres on this stop. So he will have a grip advantage here, but he's using up a set, or half a set at least, nice and early in this race.
Hacker leads, and it's Carroll and Modric. Now Carroll, who took pole in Pocono a couple of weeks back, is in second place now, and Modric is in third position. Now, they didn't pit at all, those three, and I'd imagine they're going to go on a longer first stint and keep in hold of track position. But there's no question that Lambert is going to be waiting to get through. Now, Lambert didn't take new tyres, so that could maybe give Acker, Cole and Modric a little bit of an advantage on the restart. We've done lap number 13. We're on to lap 14. This should be the last lap before the safety car goes back in, and then we'll be resuming racing with 86 laps to go.
It'll be interesting how this tactic plays out now, because if we get another caution, say immediately within the next 10 laps, this strategy of Cal, Acker and Modric, it could play off for them if they can go 10 laps without a caution. If there's a caution immediately and they then need to come in for fuel, well, they're just going to get buried in the field now, Tom. So for these guys, they're hoping for a nice green period of racing here, maybe the next 10 laps or so, because they don't want to have a caution immediately, because they're going to have no choice but to come in and take fuel. And that there would ruin this strategy of trying to take track position. So, you know, those guys, they're on the alternate now. Everyone else has come in at least for fuel. Some drivers have taken tyres in this stop as well. We'll see how this strategy pays off for the next few laps.
Safety car lights are off and we'll be going racing once more. Will we go as far as what we did on that first stint before the first caution was waved? Safety car is now in, and so Acker will decide when to go. He'll wait for the green flag to wave from the marshal, and we are good to go. It is green again in Kansas. Acker is scampering off into the distance ahead of Rick Modric and Brendan Cowell. It won't be too long, I think, before Josh Lambert makes his way through in the number 90. Clean start nevertheless, and we are seeing a few changes within the field, but nothing too drastic as far as we know.
It's just interesting how that mid-pack, once again, as soon as we get started, just starts to scramble for position again, Tom. They just start to put pressure on each other, trying to gain any little advantage that they can off this restart. And we start to, well, we kind of started to see across that stint there for that first 12 laps. Took them maybe 2 or 3 laps just to get into the rhythm of, let's just send a line, let's get some tow. A couple of drivers got caught offline and running it out wide, namely Brandon Hassinger, who dropped positions. Importantly though for him, he is still within the fight for around about the position where he should be, but he's still running that high line. This is a wild, wild strategy call from Brandon, because it's been dropping in positions all night, and I don't know if it's going to do him any favours right now with so many cars around him.
But he's fallen right into the thick of it, has not helped Brandon one bit, and now he's getting swamped by the field as far as we know, and he's falling down even further. He's in 14th place. He's got Robert Chappell next to go past him in a moment. And you can see the number 48 coming through. Yeah, I think Brandon's really not liking life right now. He's got the 48 alongside, who is trying to go through. The timing toes glitching a little bit,
yeah,
so we do apologise.
It's because there's a couple of drivers up ahead who are swapping and changing positions. There's a couple of drivers who are blinking as well, so that's then not helping our case either. It makes you wonder, Tom, how did he get the lap time to put the car safe up the order if he seems to be on this run of running the mid and high line? Like, it might have gotten him lap time in qualifying, but it is hurting him in the race, because everyone else who's running the low line is in a line astern, and they're getting the toe off the cars ahead of them, and it's just pulling them forward and undoubtedly stomping him back down the order. So he's going to have to change up the tactic if he wants to make up positions in this race.
Yeah, and you know, the fact that his qualifying effort, I'm not saying it was a fluke, but where he found that time, I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head, but he went a little bit later than some of the other runners, like Josh Lambert, for instance. He was behind Lambert on the road when he was setting his fastest time. We're approaching 20% race distance now, and is Acker still leading ahead of Cal. Lambert's in third place ahead of Rick Modric, who's not stopped yet. But so far, it seems like the drivers have behaved themselves on this restart. Really hard is a few laps behind the field there. I think has stopped in the pit lane. Chris Rundle is also not continuing, and neither is Aaron Blackburn or Jeff Dillon. So along with those four and Sean Reichenberger are all out of the race. And 36 is still going.
I think at the moment the momentum swing is definitely still with Josh Lambert at this stage of the race. I mean, Kiesler, he's impressed me tonight thus far, Tom, with the pace that he's shown. You mentioned he's on debut tonight, at least we believe he's on debut. But for Lambert, I mean, to make a pass with the lead, with a pit stop in hand, that is hurting Acker, Cowell and Modric at this stage in behind him. Kiesel's in a good position too, and then what should be corrected P3, William Ridgway, is still amongst this battle pack as well. This top three, I mean, they need a long green period there. There was a really weird blink for Acker. Looked like he hit the wall when he blinked then. He's just tucked it behind Lambert now and may hope that the race leader pulls him along.
So Lambert is into the lead, and it won't be too long before we start seeing pit stops. They'll be waiting for another caution to arrive. I wonder how much fuel that each of the cars have got since they came in. Well, we know that Acker perhaps went on a heavy fuel load at the beginning, stayed out there for as long as he has been. Surely it won't be too long before he dives in, probably in about 7 or 8 laps, when he not only comes in for fuel but tyres at the same time. And Lambert, well, it's business as usual.
It doesn't really look like anyone can challenge him at this stage, does it? I mean, Kiesel's now dropping positions. He's caught up on that midline. Ridgway's now gotten past. It's a very interesting set of tactics that are brought to this style of oval racing, of course. I mean, you know, when you go regular stock car racing, whether that's with NASCARs, Xfinities or Arcas, as the caution has been thrown again. So,
I was going to say, yeah, the caution's out for the second time. So this is the perfect moment, actually, for Barry Acker, Brendan Cowell and Rick Modric to come in.
That's worked out well.
Perfectly.
Yeah, it worked out well for them. Straight in, take 2 tyres on the right side, take your fuel, and you should still stay in a good position, because I would assume the rest of the field's going to come in and very likely take tyres as well, Tom. So this strategy now, which we called, was maybe a little bit daring of them to stay out under that first caution. They've been thrown a hell of a lifeline, and this should keep them amongst the front pack.
Let's find what caused that second caution.
I'm not 100% sure, because it hasn't given me anything as to how it's been called or why it's been called. So let's just have a look here at the yellow flag. So Trent Richard is already on the inside. John Walker, I'm not sure. It hasn't given me an actual incident report, so it's just thrown the yellow. So maybe we have a stage end, possibly, or do we not have stages?
I don't think we don't have stages. I don't think it's a straightforward end. So it's not like they've put it out at a certain distance. That's just not what we've had. I'm sure it's been an incident. It's just the fact that iRacing hasn't recorded it as an incident, thanks to its algorithms. But we've now got a new leader in Dylan Bird, who's at the head of the pack. And it's Alex Young in second place, Josh Lambert. Oh, and you just see here, I think that's really hard actually going back through to try and get back on one of the laps. And
so
in terms of...
Interestingly enough, Tom, not every driver took tyres on that stop either. These front 5 have gone without tyres. They've only taken fuel. Richard has taken tyres in P6. He's at least taken 2. Cal, no, I don't think he would have taken 2 at only 8 seconds. So, interesting strategy from these drivers tonight. Not opting not to take tyres, taking fuel and holding track position. But I would have thought, since it was a caution stop and everyone was in, best opportunity was coming to take tyres, because you don't want to do it when you're in green flag running.
It's absolutely right, and you know, when you lose too much time, I mean, given it's a 30 seconds lap time for each lap, you know, the thing is, if you go in during green flag conditions and the caution is way 3 or 4 laps later, it really hurts you so much. That's why you have to bank on a caution in a championship like this.
It's an interesting turn of events for these drivers at the moment. I mean, if we look at just straight strategy, Richard's probably the one in the hot seat because he has taken tyres, he's taken it under yellow flag conditions. Now, he has taken them early, there's no doubt about that. He's taken them at the quarter mark of the race, but those other guys, if they now get caught out taking tyres under green flag conditions, it is going to hurt them so much off this next pit stop period. So we'll see how it pans out though, Tom, as we get back into the restart zone.
Yep, Dylan Bird pulls away on Josh Lambert. And he has pitted in this race as Dylan Bird, but that was to take fuel, and that was on lap 13 when he came in during that first caution. But he's actually put out a nice margin on Josh Lambert already, so nice restart from Dylan Bird. And around turn 2. Now you can see Josh Lambert having to fend off Alex Young as they head through turn 3. And behind Young is William Ridgway, Brendan Cowell. Tom Ridgway is running in 6th position ahead of Rick Modric and Kane Logston, with Barry Ecker dropping down the order. And I think we're going to have our 3rd caution unless the Italian pages decide to have its moments again. No caution, just to let you know, just to correct myself. I thought I was seeing someone radically dropping down the order.
No, Acker is having really bad blinking issues at the moment, so that's why he's been dropping down the order every so often. So hopefully he gets that sorted and his internet becomes a lot cleaner, because he has just absolutely gone piling down the order at the moment. He may get a ping flag here, Tom, if that continues like that.
Yeah, and it looks like Alex Morales has dropped down. He made a mistake on the exit turn 4. I think 1 or 2 drivers directly behind him had to lift off the throttle to make sure they didn't run into him. But there is Josh Lambert to the outside of Dylan Bird for the lead. And this is most certainly going to be a caution, because there's a car off the road and could cause massive problems to the field that are coming through. And we have our 3rd caution. The yellow lights are on, so that tells us that the latest caution has been awarded. And I don't think that was the initial. That must have been earlier on in the lap. I think that car did continue, the 52 of Randy. Oh no, he did spin round. So that did bring out a caution, but there was another incident further up ahead.
Yeah, I wonder if that was maybe the offset that caused the car to go off track further ahead. So let's try and figure this out. So he gets hit by the 48. Who does he run in front of so we can try and catch?
It's Jacob Nagel. So the 52 is Randy Corrier and the 48 is Jacob Nagel.
Okay. Who's he hit there? That there, I think, wasn't Henry. So let's watch who's oh, okay. So there was a couple that went down on the apron, but there wasn't anything that I saw, at least, that would say to me that cars have been forced down off an incident. That was definitely the incident that caused the caution, though, for sure. Seeing as he ended up in the wall with massive damage on that car. Cars are in the pit road, though. A couple of cars at the front of it have stayed out. I don't know if it was worth coming in for fuel right now, Tom, if I'm honest. I think track position was probably the best choice some of these drivers could have made. So Dylan Bird, Josh Lambert, the Ridgway boys, and others probably made the best choice they could have in this race.
Well, the fact that we've got some drivers who have pitted in for a 3rd time, they've pitted in every caution in this race. The highest driver who has pitted in 3 times, that has to be Andrew Keisler, who's in 21st. Yeah. He's in 21st position down at the back of the field there, exiting from his latest stop. But Dylan Bird has decided not to come in. Now, he is the driver who last pitted on lap 13. He's in the lead. Trent Richard is in 16th position. He's only pitted the once as well.
Yeah, I would say if anyone was going to pit on this caution, it would have been Bird and Richard, but I think they know that if they did pit, they would have been buried. So perhaps Bird trying to go as long as possible, but the issue now is, again, if we don't get a caution and he has to pit, it's going to be in green flag conditions, and he's probably going to get buried more and more than what he would have if he'd come in under this caution period.
The field are raring to go for the restart. Lap 32, 68 to go. approaching 1/3 race distance. Is Josh Lambert going to make it 4 from 4 this evening? The man in the number 90. Dominating proceedings so far this season.
I mean, that's the only word that can really describe it, Tom, is just pure dominance. But from what I've seen from him tonight, I'm not even that surprised. He looks very switched on in how he approaches his racing. He looks very switched on in how he approaches his strategy as well. And he's got really good pace in this car. At the moment, I don't know if anyone can properly challenge him, but we do know the beauty of oval racing is anyone could technically win it, because you never know when you're going to get caught out in a big wreck.
Anything can happen in the Racing Paradise Truck Series Championship. Josh Lambert knows that all too well. Safety car in, the green flag is waved, and we are good to go once again in Kansas. And Dylan Bird getting a nice restart again. Now, something which Josh Lambert does have a habit of when he's in the lead. He's usually very, very good on his restarts. We'll move over. Dylan Bird. We didn't think we'd be involved in any of this evening after starting at the back. Bearing in mind, I don't think he's set a time at all. He fancies his chances in going for a win tonight. And he's not able to go, well, he's still in front of the leads. I think Ridgway's in front of Josh Lambert, Tom Ridgway. And William Ridgway, who are 2nd and 4th, are coming around the last corner over the line. And Bird leads. It's Tom Ridgway 2nd. Josh Lambert is now in 3rd position. He's got William Ridgway, the man in the number 636, heading to the inside. Lambert will hold it out. He's got the high ground for the exit. And will keep hold of the position for now. But so far, so good on this restart from the pack. And those like Dylan Bird, who's been on his tyres since the very beginning of this, will need to think carefully about when he's going to come in. He will not want to wait too long before he does it.
No, he won't. The longer that this goes on, well, he could possibly run a bit of a gap back to the field, but he will inevitably have to give in and come into pit road very, very shortly. And if that does happen under the green flag conditions, he is going to end up back in the field. So for Bird, you know, if you do have to come in, Tom, do you take tyres or do you just take fuel and then hope you get another caution where you can take tyres later on in the race? I mean, it's a long time to go on a set, but you've then got to think about your time management and how good are your time management skills in pit lane.
Depends really, because he'll be one of a few drivers coming into the pit lane during green flag conditions, if anything. So it's not like he'll be stuck in traffic at all, but he's got to time this to perfection. He's running in 2nd place now behind Josh Lambert, who's into the lead. It feels to me like Bird is beginning to struggle going through, and now he's having to fend off William Ridgway, who got ahead of Tom on this lap out of the last corner, now on lap 37 in Kansas. And so far so good for Josh Lambert, maintaining the lead for now, but will anyone take that away from him?
I mean, all it takes is, you know, one little shot of bad luck, whether that's Lambert has to come in under green flag conditions, and as you mentioned earlier, you come in under green, 4 laps later they call the caution, and all of a sudden you're in the mud. So it could happen to Lambert, it could happen to any of the drivers in the field. But, I mean, looking at the scramble for position in behind, you can see these drivers are hungry for position. You can see that they're just wanting to get into their rhythm, make up anything that they can. And honestly, I think what will benefit them is a long green period. If we get all this stop-start action of caution after caution, not only is it going to make for a boring race, but it's going to make it boring for the drivers, because they're just going to be sitting there twiddling their thumbs waiting for the checkered flag to fly later in the race. So these guys will be hoping for a long green period, and they'll want to try and get into this battle as best they can.
Lambert will want this race over and done with in the quickest way possible. Just 3 cautions so far on lap 39. Lambert is beginning to stretch the margin to half a second, and he's making this look easy right now. He owns the circuit. Will Ridgway has got in front of Dylan Bird for 2nd position. How long is Bird willing to wait out before he needs to come in for his first change of tyres? Most certainly going to be on the right-hand side, which are going to be replaced.
I think he needs to come in this lap, Tom. I think he needs to he needs to commit to it and he needs to come in, because the longer that this goes on, the further down the order he's just going to get buried, and that's only going to hurt him later in this race. So if he's going to come in, it's got to be either now or next lap by, because Morrison will catch him and then he'll put pressure on him and he'll lose out the opportunity to come into pit road.
Well, he's keeping on the track position for now, he's Bird, and there is a gap behind, so he may as well just stay out there for the time being, providing he's got the fuel to go further. And now he's watching Ridgway and Lambert go nose to tail. And there's a little bit of backlash, and we've got two collisions. This is going to be another caution. That has come to Dylan Bird's rescue.
That has. It honestly has. He needs to jump straight into pit lane the next time round. Get tyres on it, get fuel into it, and push on. That was massive. That was easily the biggest incident we've seen all night, Tom. A mammoth incident down there at the entry into 3. Let's watch this back.
There goes the 89 spinning round. He collects. Couldn't quite pick up who it was that he collided with that. But the 89 that spun round, just trying to see who that was. I can't see on the time pace it's showing it's 89. It might be... Ooh, I don't know. But there was many cars involved, including the 57 of Joseph Phelps. He's got involved in that.
It was Phelps that got... was it Phelps that got collected? It was. He got collected by the car that was backing down the banking. But just a massive incident. Nearly every car is in pit lane, and Dylan Bird is dropping down the order by taking tyres. But everyone coming in, it's probably helped Dylan Bird on this caution, because it means the drop's not going to be nearly as bad as what it would have been if either A, he had pitted on his own under this caution, or B, he had pitted under green flag conditions.
You see all the cars released almost into the path of other drivers there. A lot of room though for all those to get in and out at pit road.
Richard stayed out. That is a massive misplay. That is a massive misplay from Trent Richard. And I mean, I know we've had a little bit of potluck tonight, Tom, for drivers coming in under caution and needing needing a caution when they needed to pit. This here, Trent Richard needed this, and he hasn't come in, and this is going to cost him massively.
Well, he came in for new tyres on lap number 12 because he had a 15-second stop. So I don't know if he's going to be able to make it that far. He's probably going to need another caution in the next 10 laps, and then put the he won't want to change tyres though, because that will mean he'll have to go through pretty much the second half of the race on that set of tyres, and he's going to struggle in the long run.
Yeah, I think this is a massive misplay from him, and there's no other word to really describe it other than a misplay. He has made a massive mistake. If it's a gamble, it's just the worst gamble of all time, because what positive do you have by gambling this, Tom? I mean, I know it's taking him out of the traffic, but how does this help him? He's on older tyres than the rest of the field now. He needs fuel. He's probably going to have to stop under green flag, and that means he's going to be right at the back of the field again.
He will be, and he's going to have to bank on another caution in the next 6 laps. Well, the safety car is going in. We'll be back on the way. That was caution number 4. 5 drivers out of the race so far. 36 still going. Trent Richard, as we can say, he'll lead a lap of this and get another championship point coming in the way. But he's had you could just tell by the way he accelerated, and the rear tyres just did not want to grip. Oh, and there goes the spinner.
Oh my God.
That is quite frankly the worst restart I have seen so far this season.
I think that's probably the worst restart I've ever seen. If I'm honest with you, Tom, that there was massive. Oh my God, even worse to come. Another big one off the exit of 2.
Yeah, multiple cars involved. This is going to affect a lot of the drivers in the field.
And if you're Trent Richard, you've got to come in. You've got to come in now. There is no worth staying out and staying at the front of the field here because he's on old tyres. We saw him. He started to get eaten alive off that restart. I know you said it was probably the worst restart you've seen this series. It's the worst I've probably ever seen in all my oval races I've called. That there, I'm sorry to say, just to call them out for the moment, was abysmal by the number 1 car, Zach Tucker. How in the hell did he get off the restart and automatically just turn around?
It was very, very bizarre. I want to see a replay of that on who actually precipitated that incident on the first part of the restart, because it was behind Trent Richard when it all kicked off. So
actually, he got turned. He got dumped by the car in behind.
I think that was William Ridgewell he came together with.
Yeah, and then we saw Ridgway. He got loose through 1 and 2. Oh, that's it there. He tried to avoid the 50. Look at the lack of grip on board Richard's car. Yeah. And I'm sorry. I know we said, oh, it's a massive mistake. He should have come in, yada, yada, yada. If anything, that there was just pure ignorance, Tom. He should have come in for tyres because he did not have the grip to precipitate staying out. He's staying out again. I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous now. He needs to come into pit lane and take tyres because he's got no grip. And we saw how much time he was giving up off that restart. Arguably, the domino effect of that incident happening was all on Trent Richard because he did not have the pace or the grip to run through turn 2. That then has caused the 636 of Ridgeway to take evasive action, and in turn it's caused a massive incident on track.
A number of cars were affected in all of that. William Ridgeway is a lap down in the field, and he's not even circulating as far as we know. Rudy Haag is still going, still a lap behind. John Walker is still in the pit lane, I think. A very lengthy one of that. In fact, he's been in the pit lane for over 2 minutes. He's affected by that incident that brought out the latest caution. Chris Melton is not circulating right now, so that could be his race done and dusted. Trent Richard is now in.
What was the point, Tom? What was the point in him waiting until this lap to come into pit lane? Because now he's P31, and could he go a lap down here?
I think he'll go out in time.
Well, actually, he's on for a long stop. He's in there for 30, upwards of 40 seconds. So he's either got damage and he's fixing it, or he's been given a penalty for something. I don't know what or why, but he's in there, and that's probably race done for him at this stage. Which I think as well, has the caution just been extended by a lap? Or have we not made the start-finish line yet?
We've not made the start-finish line yet. The safety car lights are off. We're just waiting for it to peel off into the pit lane, and we'll be good to go. We've had 5 cautions now. This is that 48 they are about to complete, and we are green flag racing again in Kansas. 52 to go.
Let's see who takes advantage of this restart now. A couple of drivers who came in didn't take tyres, so namely Martin Henry, Casey Connerman, up and amongst the top 10, as well as Ryan Walker. Everyone else amongst them has taken tyres. Juan Velez has just had a bit of a blink there, the Mexican in the field. So he's back and running though. But for Lambert, I mean, he looks unbeatable at this stage, Tom. He looks to be, by the good races, just unable to be properly challenged tonight. And I mean, as we hit the halfway point, I think all that's going to stop him is maybe a mistake or possibly a bit of bad luck.
Yeah, quite possibly. We've got some drivers dropping down the order. It looks like Juan Velez has gone down the order a little bit. We see the field, there's Jacob Nagel in the 48. Out of turn 2. Looks like they've behaved themselves this time on this latest restart. Dylan's dropped back a little bit. Andrew Kiesler coming through in 8th position. But Lambert leads. Morrison second. It's Verdeman, Henry, Carroll, Modric, Cotterman, Kiesler, Walker, Brian Walker that is, and Stutzman.
Oh, Cotterman into the wall! Oh my God! And it's got to be another caution, surely. That there is a Yep, caution is thrown. Multiple cars off the road.
Have our 6th caution here in Kansas, and will that prompt any more pit stops? Probably not so for the majority of the leaders.
Oh my
This is
God!
out of turn 2.
So that looks there, like, so that was already starting. Yep. So a couple of cars getting together, and then as the 9 car goes off the road. It's Will Weaver, just gets collected on the way through. So, big incidents happening here, Tom. It's amazing, isn't it? We go so long on a green period, and then all of a sudden it's caution after caution after caution, and the way that the rhythm builds up. Now, I don't think it was fresh tyres that caused that, because they shouldn't have been cold. I think that there was just drivers getting a little bit untoward with each other and a little bit unsettled. So, where Verdeman's in, out of P5, or P3 was, Nagel, that's Jacob, Phelps, Gardner, Bryant Nagel, Juan Velez, Casey Cotterman, John Fowler, Dave Peterson, Michael Ziegler, Huff, Tucker, Hussinger, Bird, Dylan, Weaver, Koya, and Richard all back in pit lane. Ironically, Richard was in there for 1 minute and 41 seconds on his last stop. Still have no idea why it was that long for him, Tom, if I'm honest. Other than possibly he had a stop hold, or he just had big damage.
I would reckon he had damage from one of the previous cautions.
Yeah.
He did. And there's Rudy Haag.
Didn't he? Second wave
one of the. Yeah. Well, he was down by a number of laps, so it's no wonder it being allowed through. But I think by the time he gets through, I think he'll still be at least another lap behind, possibly 2. So he's probably going to need 2 more cautions, actually, at least, to get back on the lead lap before this race is over.
He'll be on to lap 52 now. The leaders are on lap 53, so he'll need 1 more caution to be back on the lead lap. I believe, unless Dylan Bird goes a lap down off the leaders, which I don't think he's going to. Then Haag should still get lucky dog, and he should get 1 more lap back off the next caution, which would put him back on the lead lap, which for Rudy Haag, he's up 5 spots, get back on the lead lap. That's not a bad day at the office for him.
Run down as the safety car lights go off again, and we'll go back to racing very shortly. Josh Lambert is ahead of Chris Chadwick in his in-season tournament head-to-head, so he's set to book his place in the quarterfinals. In terms of between John Gardner Sr. and Will Weaver, right now, I'm just looking through, I think John Gardner Sr. is ahead of Will Weaver, he is. So as it stands, he'll be heading through. Joseph Phelps and Rudy Haag, well, Phelps is ahead of Haag, who's a long way behind, so I think Phelps is going to be the one advancing through between those two. John Fowler and Zach Tucker. Zach Tucker is still going. John Fowler is just behind him, actually, so it's a direct fight between those two. Robert Chappell and Chris Randall. Now, Chris Randall in the field. He's behind Robert Chappell. He's not too far. Oh, no, he's out of the race, effectively, so Chris Randall. So it looks like Robert Chappell's going to be heading through. Casey Cotterman and Aaron Blackburn. Blackburn's out of the race, and I think Cotterman will be able to carry on, and he'll be going through. Juan Velez and Mike Siegler. Those two, in terms of that battle, I think Velez is still ahead of Siegler. He is. And Tim Johns and Dave Peterson. I can tell you Tim Johns is running in 10th position, and he is ahead of Peterson, so as it stands, he'll be heading through. Back on the way again, lap 55, 46 laps remaining here, and there's already a car in the wall, and we could well end up with another caution. Yep, yellow lights are on. Caution once more. And who's that that's gone into the barrier there?
Ryan Walker. Ryan Walker has gone into the wall off the restart. Toes it back to pit lane. Oh, just the smallest of touches from the 33, and that puts him up there. And then there was another one right in behind him as well.
I'm starting to lose count with how many cautions we've had so far. It just
I
feels
am
like...
as well. I mean, it's happening lap after lap at this stage. Hopefully we can just get a nice long green period now, where these cars can just settle in and get themselves into a beneficial position for this next portion of the race.
With the safety car out, this will allow really hard to get back another of those laps that he had lost. We'll see him go past the safety car in a moment. There we see Josh Lambert, Matt Morrison and Martin Henry competing in his first race this season. Now, if Lambert does take the win, it'll be for this season, but he still needs to compete in at least 2 more rounds to be eligible to be in the playoffs. And we look at those who are wanting to qualify. I mean, you've got likes of Brandon Cowell, who is most certainly going to be one of those in play for a place in the playoffs, as we see Really Hard go through. Now, if Really Hard gets back the next lap or so, I think, is he going to be back on the lead lap next time around?
He's on the lead lap now, technically.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It'll mean that Trent Richard should get the lucky dog if we get another caution. But yeah, for Rudy Haag, he is now back on the lead lap. He is into pit lane, taking a stop, interestingly enough. But I think he should get out if he only takes fuel. He should be okay if he just takes fuel.
Now, mentioned the next driver who's down a lot, that is Trent Richard. If he gets that lucky dog next time around, he will be back on the lead lap. And the next one behind him is Randy Corrier. It could be a bit of a fight between those two on the restart. He will get ahead of who, and the next caution that comes out, if there is another one, that lucky dog would go to whoever is ahead.
Yeah, so those guys, yeah, well, they'll be battling for positions. So they are the last 2 cars technically on the road tonight. Every car behind them is out of this race. So Richard and Koya are the next 2 who'd be up for lucky dog as well. Restart's about to get underway though, Tom, so we'll see how they go.
We're on lap 58. We've got 42 laps to go. Hopefully no more cautions for a while, at least. And Josh Lambert, I don't know if he's getting bored of all these cautions and all these restarts he keeps having to do. It's almost like that's his paid job.
Yeah.
Just nail the restarts and nothing else won't matter.
Pretty much, yeah. I think he's in a good position at the moment. But yeah, that's what he'll be hoping for, is maybe just caution after caution, because you can't get overtaken if you're still under yellow flag. So it's all paying out well for him here.
Safety car peels in, and we are good to go for the 59th lap around this circuit. Josh Lambert leads the way over Matt Morrison. Martin Henry in 3rd place. It's Brandon Cowell, the Canadian, in 4th place in the 85. And Lambert leads the field round. So far, so good. It is still green for the time being. Will they behave themselves out of turn 3? Will do. Ian Muxton's dropped down. Jacob Nagel's dropped down as well. Robert Chappell swapping places with others. We're still green this time around. Josh Lambert just going on the flat ground. Keep hold of the lead right now. Martin Henry and Matt Morrison swap places again. It looks like Andrew Kieser had a really poor entry into turns 1 and 2. He's dropped so many positions. It is unreal. So that doesn't cause any problems for the others behind. But no problems so far from Josh Lambert. Matt Morrison into the slipstream, gunning. Be the first driver other than Josh Lambert to take victory this season. And, Joseph Felton, Robert Chapman swapping positions. Kane Logson moving in front of Tom Ridgway for 8th place. It's a very clean restart from these compared to last time. And strategy will have to be considered. Who is going to be pitting in when, and whether they're going to go for tyres or not. Now, Martin Henry did a 9-second stop. I don't know if he actually took tyres that time. My guess is that he didn't. You'd need about 14 or 15 seconds to make tyre changes as well as adding fuel in. And Josh Lambert has this one all under control. And Trent Richard has stopped in the pits, or has come in for a pit stop, and he's back out again now. Albeit he's a few laps behind the leader. There's Richard. And Randy Corrier will be the next driver to try and get back on the lead lap. So we've lost Ryan Walker, we've lost William Ridgway, John Walker, Chris Melton, Alex Morles, Barry Acker, Chris Randall, Harry Blackburn, Jeff Dillon, and Sean Reichenberger never started the race. Still a green flag at the moment. It'll remain that way until the end of this one, and if it is, then it's going to come down to strategy really. Who will get the strategy spot on, and who's going to be missing out. Really strong result if those that remain out there make the most of the next caution by pitting in then. A different complexion on the race itself. So Josh Lambert is coming up to lap. What could be is that Trent Richard is about to put a lap on. I think it is. Trent Richard has had a night to forget so far. 35 laps remaining in Kansas, not too long left. We're approaching 2/3 race distance. And Lambert is looking good for 4 wins from 4. And further down the field, I don't think we really are seeing any changes for position. Started second in the grid, he's in the lead. Matt Morrison started 12th, or 13th rather, and he's in second place. Martin Henry from 14th to 3rd. Brandon Cowell from 26th to 4th. Charlie Stutzman from 16th to 5th. So far, so good from the leaders, and Lambert is heading through on that back. Yeah, he's going through on the back marker of what looks like the number 55. That has to be Trent Richard, who is now down 5 laps on the leader after his latest pit stop. And Matt Morrison is going to have his hands full with Martin Henry behind, although he's just pulled away from him. And now we've got quite a dogfight for 3rd position between Martin Henry, Brandon Cowell and Charlie Stutzman.
And as they're battling away here, I mean, it's good to see these drivers just getting into their small battle packs. And we mentioned at the start of the show, Tom, that we thought we didn't get so many cautions. This is probably what we were going to get about 20 laps to go. So it's good to see them now in these small little battle packs, fighting away for position. You mentioned it's like a dogfight between them. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see who is the real benefactor of it. At the moment, it's not looking like anyone can beat Josh Lambert. Oh my God. Somehow they survived. They touched on lap 69. Nice. Somehow they survived. How in the hell did they survive that, Tom? Well, unbelievable.
That's a mystery. That was Martin Henry and Brandon Cowell colliding. Did very, very well to keep going, and the race continuing to be under green.
Now it's Rick Modric who gets to put the pressure on Joseph Phelps. Good to see this strategy has played off for Rick tonight. We saw him skid coming in under one of the cautions, got himself track position. He's taken 2 pit stops. He's up the order now, and he's doing very well for himself. So it's good to see. In comparison to that, Brandon Cow, who pulled the same strategy earlier in the race, he's actually down the order back into P16. So it's worked out a lot better for Modric than it did for Cow in that attempt at trying to get their cars to the front of the field.
They'll be thinking about making another pit stop before this race is over. Zach Tucker moves in front of Brian Nagel for P7. And Lambert, as far as his lead is concerned, is over a second. Nice healthy passion to Matt Morrison in P2. Charlie Stutzman, who is gunning for a podium. And now we're looking at the 5-car battle behind. I believe is Charlie Stutzman. That will be Kane Lunston. Not Kane Lunston, sorry, that has to be Zach Tucker. He's got the field right behind with Jacob Nagel in there as well. And Joseph Phelps, Brian Nagel and Robert Chappell. This is an amazing fight, actually, isn't it?
It's a great fight. I mean, we mentioned the dogfight tactics of these cars. Now they're into these, as we said, small battle packs that are happening. But they're just going back and forth, trying to figure out which driver do I want to favour, which driver do I want to tuck up behind, get the toe off of, try and carry my rhythm through. It's one of the toughest racing tactics you can bring to speedway or to this speedway style of racing, specifically in these higher powered stock cars such as the NASCAR trucks. So it's really, really good to see these guys get into a good battle. But I mean, after all the cautions tonight, Tom, isn't it so refreshing to get some really good battling happening in green flag conditions?
Absolutely so. Jacob Nagel, 48, has now got his brother in the field. We've got Robert Chappell, who's there as well. Andrew Kiesler, who was running towards the front end of the field earlier on. He's now in the 11th position. Juan Velez behind the Mexican. 12th. Lambert, well, has he got enough fuel to go to the end?
Well, you know, that's the question. You know, running these alternate strategies, that's when we have to think, will they have enough fuel to get to the end? Now, I think when we mentioned the strategy earlier of running that lap 25 for tyres, Tom, just trying to remember, would that also include how long they could go on fuel, or could they go longer on fuel than 25 laps? Because if they can't, then everyone's going to need one more pit stop, because multiple drivers put up 52. But as Lambert, Morrison and Logsdon come in, Kiesler's also in, Hussinger's been in as well, Weaver's in too. So it'll be interesting now to see how this plays out. For Stutzman and Modric, I think they will need another stop. How long will they be able to go for though on this next stop as we get the 25 to go? Not sure, but I think they can definitely make it home from here if they take this next pit stop.
Phelps and Nagel swap positions over 4th place. And Nagel carrying on as Stutzman comes in for what should be his
Modric
final
in
trip
too.
to the pit lane. Modric in.
So they went about 33 laps. And now we did have a couple of cautions in there, of course. So that probably added about 3 laps or so, Tom, I would say. So maybe 30 laps on the fuel, which then says to me those drivers who pit on lap 52 could go all the way out to lap 82 before they need to pit. So it could be interesting how the strategy plays out now. And if they are able to do it under caution whilst those other guys have just done it under green flag running, it's going to help them so, so much. And remember we mentioned the possibility of how Josh Lambert could lose this race by pitting under green and then getting caught out with a caution and others pitting under the caution. That is a real possibility right now, and it could happen if he's a bit unlucky.
Yeah. Well, Josh Lambert's not had a lot of luck go against him this season. And after that stop, he's now running in 16th place, a lap down. But we expect those that haven't pitted to do so in the near future. Now, Zach Tucker, who's in the lead, pitted on lap 52. We're now on lap 79. So, in theory, it really shouldn't be too long before he makes his move. But he is waiting for another caution if he's going to be winning this.
going to go as long as possible, Tom. I mean, 22 laps to go. He's got roughly 4 laps, I think, available to him on this fuel. So he's hoping that there is a caution thrown in the next 3 or 4 laps and he can come in and take a free pit stop. That is his hope at this point of the race. Now, if we look at those who have pit, Lambert saved a set, has taken 2 tyres on this past stop. Logston did not. Pedersen did not. Bird, who pitted on 56, needs another stop, so he's out of that contention. Modric, Stutzman both took tyres, so did Kiesler. And remember, we saw Kiesler down the order earlier in the race. He's now back up within the fight for a top 5 position and a great effort on his debut.
How long will it be before the leaders decide to pit in? That is the question we are waiting to be answered. Joseph Phelps in second place, Jacob Nagel in third, ahead of Bryant Nagel, who's looking to make a move at some point. Juan Velez has done well to get up into 5th position in the 88. But now we are seeing Nagel and Phelps go through, and if that's because we are seeing some pit lane activity.
Now,
So
wouldn't it have
Team
been cool if both the Nagel brothers ran, obviously Jacob's in the Jimmy Johnson car, if Bryant ran the Jeff Gordon livery from the mid-2000s? How cool would that have been, both of them in the Hendricks cars?
I couldn't agree more. It would have been splendid if they did that.
Oh, yeah. That's a request. I'm not going to be here next week because I'm filling in for Jim this week. I will tune in next week if I find out that Jacob Nagel or Bryant Nagel, whichever one, is not in the Hendricks livery. If they're running that Jeff Gordon livery next week, I'm going to be ecstatic. Zach Tucker in though, race leader into pit lane. So he's gone as long as he could there, Tom, about 30 laps. Can make it to the end here. We'll see if he underfuels the car just to, make sure he gets there, because he only needs 18 laps of fuel. He doesn't need the full 30. We'll see if he's calculated that correctly.
Well, he's in the box now, and I've got the timing clock in front of me, and he's done that in 9.25 seconds. That is enough for...
I think.
It can't be that much.
No, maybe not, actually. No, he might have taken... Oh, he probably would have taken enough to get home. Maybe a bit extra for safety's sake, as Huff's going to come in. So, Lambert now will be the race leader. Look at the comeback from Kiesler. Up to P2 corrected now, after being well down the order earlier in the race. Props have to go here to Andrew Kiesler. And then we've also got to give props, though he does need a pit stop, Rudy Haag, for staying within this fight and getting back onto the lead lap in this race. A fantastic effort from those guys.
Lambert in the lead then, back on course, make it a quadruple of wins from the start of the season. If we get another caution, we'll run down on the head-to-heads. Along with that, so we know he'll be heading through to the quarterfinals of that. Be held at Daytona in 7 days' time. 16 laps remaining. Coming down very, very quickly, actually, given the fact that we've been under green flag racing for so long since the last caution. I'm not saying there will be another caution, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was another one. Then we're going to be in for an intensifying end this race here at Kansas Speedway.
Perhaps we get a late caution here, Tom. Do we see anyone come in and take tyres, do we think? If anyone's got any available to them? Or do we think they just stick it out and keep track position?
If you're at the back of the field, you've got nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you're at the front of the field, you may need to think about that.
Mrs. Ali Racing in the chat saying, I will let them know to run that paint if they can. So I'm going to assume that there is the...
Oh, sorry, car in the wall. So
there is a car in the wall. That's Andrew Kiesler. He's kept it running, but he is dropping a bit of time now. I'm going to assume...
It's going to be a caution.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. He's still going. He hasn't stopped just yet, and it's still green flag. But he's dropping a lot of pace.
Can we get that car back to the pit lane? Yeah. We are still under green at the moment. Yeah, there's still green lights, so hopefully he keeps it going.
Hopefully
he'll be heading into... Yeah, he'll go to the pits though to get that repaired. There's no way he'll carry on with that.
Yeah, look, he's trying to get it turned down onto the apron. Suspect he's coming in. He is coming in the 18. So into pit road. Oh my God, gets it pulled up way early. He probably needs to tow because I think he may have actually missed the pit lane there. Tom. Yeah, just back to my point. I believe Mrs. Ali Racing may be either the wife of one of the Nagel boys or the mother of the Nagel boys. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but hopefully we see one of them next week, or arguably the 458 car in the Jeff Gordon livery, so they can run together as classic Hendricks partnership of Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. Zach Tucker, though, battling away with them. Now, just for clarification here, Tom, because I know that Zach was in that preliminary final possibility position in amongst this little tournament they've got running. Who was his battle against this week?
Zach Tucker, that is.
Yeah, Zach Tucker.
So his battle was with John Fowler.
Oh, well, yeah, he's well ahead of John at the moment. And with 11 to go, looks to be that Zach's going to be moving on to the next round of the tournament for this season. So that's a good job for Zach. He just needs to keep it clean now for the next 11 laps.
Absolutely. So John Gardner Sr. on his way through as it stands. Josh Lambert the same. Joseph Phelps is heading through. Zach Tucker's heading through. Robert Chappell's heading through. Casey Cotterman is heading through. Juan Velez is heading through. And Tim Johns is at the moment heading through because Dave Peterson is just a few positions behind him, but provided he doesn't make any more mistakes, it should be okay for Tim to make it through in 12th position. 10 to go on this one. We're not far from the finish.
Just as well, Miss Ali Racing is the wife of Jacob Nagel. Brian is his brother, so that's confirmed for us right there. Great to have the family running around together and racing along together as well. It's great when the family of the drivers get into the chat and get chatting with us too. We absolutely love it. It makes it really personal, and you know, we love to be able to provide drivers' narratives across their racing series, not just for this series but for the other series broadcasts here too. Rick Modric up the inside of Charlie Stutzman and into P2 goes the 71 machine, but with 7 or nearly 8 seconds ahead for Josh Lambert. I don't think, Tom, he's going to get challenged tonight, and I think he's going to get that 4th win.
Yeah, it looks that way. 18 drivers are on the lead lap as well. Still got those laps all the way down to around about where Trent Richard is. I think Trent Richard is still circulating around, at least to get some points. It's the end of the road for Andrew Kiesler after running towards the front end for a lot of the race before hitting the barrier at some stage. We'll run down the race result once it finishes. But Lambert, like you say, on course for another superlative victory, with Rick Modric in 2nd place and Charlie Stutzman in 3rd. Brandon Carroll returning to form in 4th position. And yeah, it has been that sort of race from the start. And Lambert has only got 9 more miles to finish off before he can celebrate another win and talk to us about his latest performance.
Well, I mean, what a race of 2 halves, Tom. First half of the race, caution heavy, big incidents. Obviously, we saw on screen. The second half been good green flag running, good little battle packs happening. The dogfights have been spectacular. And to see how these strategies have now come together for certain drivers, the bad luck for some drivers out there, such as Kiesler on debut tonight, could have been on for a great result. Unfortunately, is out now as the yellow flag is thrown. Late yellow flag as Brandon Hussinger and Kane Logston have gone off the road on the back stretch. So now, if you're anyone like Brandon Huff, Casey Cotterman, John Fowler, Will Weaver, Kane Logston, even Juan Velez, you're in for tyres, surely, Tom. You're coming in, you're risking it for the biscuit, you're taking some tyres, you're seeing what you can get out of this race.
Yeah, so they will have to wait though, because pit entry is closed for the time being until the field bunches up behind the pace car. And we're going to see a replay here. Yeah, that's a collision between Cotterman and Hussinger. And yeah, that's terrible damage.
Logston and Cotterman on that one.
Is it Logston and...
Yeah. So they're actually still together on track at the moment. They have just passed the pace car, which is waiting to pick up the leader. What sort of pressure does this now put on Lambert? Because, of course, he had 8 seconds in hand. We're probably going to go green, white, checkered to the end based on how long the pace car's been out there for previously. As Logston's going to come in, so is Hussinger. So they're going to come in for tyres. They're going to go a lap down, though, because the leaders are right there. They should have gone another lap, I think, Tom, and then come in. Because now they're about to risk going a lap down.
We'll see soon enough. Lambert will cross over the line. He's got three laps to go. Now, will the pace car lights go off when they head over the line to complete this lap? Well, they've gone over. I think the safety car period will extend slightly, which means the scheduled race distance will be lengthened by another lap. Just see someone making the most of the lucky dog there. It doesn't look like... Well, Seth Tucker's come in for fuel. Doesn't look like he's gone in for tyres at all, unless he didn't need to put fuel in. He's gone in to put tyres on, I think, Seth Tucker.
Yeah, and I think he actually nearly missed his pit box as well there, Tom, because I saw it flash yellow, red on his pit lane section in our timing. He is taking tyres on this stop. It looks to be taking 4 tyres on this stop for Zach Tucker. So, a risky game, but it could work out for him as the 45 car, which is a lap down, I believe, is just going to tuck in behind him. So, Tucker's now going to be one to watch because he's going to have the grip advantage here, Tom, for these final 2 laps. But the issue is he going to have long enough to make up positions and maybe get up to the top 10? I don't know if he will. I don't know if 2 laps are going to be enough.
We'll see soon enough. But Lambert is heading over the line. It is saying 3 laps to go, but it will say 3 to go still. Because it will be green and then white next time around. Now, there is a maximum of 2 cautions that can extend the race distances, and then it's the checker flag next time around, or white flag, whichever. But the safety car lights are now off. And for your information, 16 drivers are on the lead lap. Josh Lambert, is he going to be taking his 4th win in a row, or is Rick Modric going to snatch it away from him?
Rick's had relatively good pace across this race thus far, but it's not been anywhere near good enough to challenge Lambert. Lambert's best lap, 30.54. Modric, a 30.76. So, you know, running around about 2/10 slower than the race leader. That doesn't say anything to me that would indicate that he could possibly challenge him for this race win, but anything can happen. He could make contact with him, and then it could be Charlie Stutzman or Brendan Cow that sneak on by. Time will tell, but green, white, checkered period about to come our way.
A 2-lap shootout is waiting for the drivers here in Kansas. Will it be 4 from 4 from Lambert, or will his winning start to the season come to an end with Rick Modric and Charlie Stutzman looking to pick up their first wins? We are underway, 2 laps to go. And Lambert got the best restart. It's the dream restart he could have asked for, as he leads the field round. And he'll hope there won't be another caution between now and the end of this. I think once they cross over the line and it's white flag, it will be the last lap. Even if there is an incident on the last lap, it will not be a caution. But it seems to me like Lambert has done everything right so far, but he's now got Brandon Cowell on his tail and many others gassing around. This is going to be a nail-biting conclusion to this contest. Is Josh Lambert going to hold on ahead of Brandon Cowell? Now Cowell, who took pole in Pocono, is right on the tail of Lambert as they come out of turn number 2. And Lambert is doing everything right. And I think we may have lost pictures.
I do apologise. It has just booted me out of the session, unfortunately. So we're going to have a radio show now for the final lap, it seems. So, Tom, if you could call it as best you can, I'll try and get into the server again so I can get some pictures up at least for B-roll at the end. I do apologise though. That is a massive technical issue, and not one that I wanted to happen.
Well, Josh Lambert was the one leading heading into the last lap, but they are coming around to complete their last lap, and we don't know for certain who has ended up where. So we're just waiting on Hamish to get back into the server so that we can actually see how the race has concluded. They are unofficial results though, so bar any penalties or anything like that, any post-race investigations that could have a change to the results.
It's in fact actually given me results here, and it said that Lambert's won to Cal and Modric on the podium. But as I said, I'm just waiting to get the opportunity to actually join the server again so we can have a quick chat to them. Let me just close and reopen my iRacing. You'll see if that will sort it. Technology, eh, Tom? You get all the way to the final lap and then it boots you from the session.
Yeah.
All you can do is laugh.
Yeah.
When that happens. It's just disappointing. I'm very sorry, everyone. I do apologise. It's, I pride myself on trying to do the best I can. And then that happens, so I'm very, very sorry. I can't join the server again, so because I actually can't find it. So I do apologise. What we'll do is we'll put our thumbnail up on the screen, and then we'll have a quick chat to the drivers whilst we, as we often would post race. And as I said, I do apologise that has happened. That is. I'm very disappointed actually that's happened, because we were going to be on for a hell of a dogfight for the final lap there, Tom, and I was hoping we were going to be able to show off that battle because it was looking spectacular.
Well, to our understanding, Josh Lambert has taken victory ahead of Brandon Cowell and Rick Modric, and we've got two of the drivers waiting in the waiting room. We'll have a word with the man who we believe has ended up in third position. Rick Modric, good to speak to you. How was the race for you? To our understanding, because our timing pages had gone off, because the fact that Hamish got kicked out of the server, we don't know for 100% certain where everyone had finished, but we understand that you finished in third position.
Yeah, I sure did. A little help from my buddy there, Brandon Cowell. Little pit strategy. We stayed out on that first stop and stretched our first set of tires there to 50 laps. So it was just a matter of getting the clean air and staying out front.
Talk us about your season so far. How has it been for you? Because I think this is probably the first time we've talked to you, considering you finished on the podium. But how were the first three events for you before this one?
The first couple were okay, and then Richmond last week, we had that unfortunate caution there near the end that kind of flipped the field. I was looking at a top 5 there, but unfortunate situation with the yellow coming out during green flag stops. And luckily tonight everything went pretty smooth, so nice to come home in third.
And that keeps you in the running for a place in the playoffs as well, which is good to see. If you've got a couple more races, which would put you in a position where you are eligible to compete in the playoffs, because you have to race in at least 6 events in the regular season in order to qualify. But considering your points total so far, you are in position to be in the playoffs. I mean, have you had experience in the playoffs in this particular championship before?
No, this is my first time running with these guys, and it's kind of a good group of guys they got going on here. Nice to see these large fields.
Anyone you want to shout out to, Rick, before we let you go?
I'd like to put a shout out to my wallet for letting me do this.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well done on your podium tonight, and we'll speak to you again next time out in Daytona.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys. Nice job on your broadcast.
Cheers, thank you very much. That was Rick Modric, and we'll bring in the driver that finished second here this evening in Kansas. Brandon Cowell, good to speak to you. How are you?
Good. How's it going tonight?
Not too bad, thank you. They came out a little bit of nowhere, really, considering how far back you were in the field when you started. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah, it was not a great qualifying effort. Felt good at the beginning of practice, and then everybody came out and started laying down some laps, and a little nervous there, and then obviously could not improve in qualifying, so had to play a little bit of strategy early on that first pit stop. I think around lap 13, 14 when everybody went in. Kind of surprised me. So decided to stay out and take the track position, and it paid off in the long run.
It was a very long green flag. I can't remember. It was something like 40 laps at least we had after the penultimate caution to the race. How did that affect you in terms of the strategy? Because it got to a point where virtually everyone had to pit in on the green flag. It's a nightmare, really, isn't it? Because we've seen it before. I think last week, some drivers got caught out by the caution by pitting in too soon because they had to pit in as when they did because their tires were fading away. They were running out of fuel, and when a caution gets thrown, only a few laps later, it's so easy to kick yourself in that situation. But luckily, you got the strategy right here.
You just had to remind me of that, didn't you? Because I was one of those drivers that got caught in that last week. Yeah, it happens. It was tough. I ran it as long as I could on fuel. I knew I had to do that in order to have the fuel to make it to the end. Should we have stayed green there? So I just again trying to avoid getting run over on pit entry because you want to do most of your braking on the track, which can be dangerous there. So just tried to have a good stop. I got caught up just before that stop and lost a lot of momentum. Fell back to I think about 14th or so. So just tried to have a nice clean stop, not speed, get the 4 tires on it, and then take advantage of them on that last bit. And I think there was a few guys either forgot to put on tires or didn't have any sets left, so was able to pick up a few spots that way as well.
Anyone you want to shout out to, Brandon, before we let you go?
I think just this FTR group. It's been a good 4 weeks now of racing. They do a great job. Huge field, so it can be tough. I've been in other leagues where big fields do mean lots of cautions because you got a lot of guys on the track together, and sometimes like people have bad qualifying efforts and they're trying to push their way through, and things happen, right? So I think they've done a great job of just keeping on top of things and trying to manage what they can. So and obviously just for putting this stuff on, right? We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So
Brandon, thank you very much, and well done on achieving another podium finish. And maybe next time out, it could be the race win.
thank you very much.
Brandon Carroll finishing in second place, and now we'll speak to the man who maintains his 100% winning start to the season. Josh, it's 4 from 4.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Tom?
Not too bad, thank you. Was that the most difficult race you've had to do?
That one wasn't too bad. I was really hoping we were gonna stay green the rest of the way. I knew I pitted first, so I had the oldest tires, but it ended up working out.
It begs the question, with obviously this season going the way it has been for you. I mean, you've won all the races, and we've got obviously 6 more rounds of the regular season to go. Are you thinking about the playoffs right now? Because it's almost certain that you will be qualified for that, providing you do a couple more races this season.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the schedule of the playoff races. I like all those tracks. I should be good there. Really the only one I got to worry about is Daytona next week, I believe. That's gonna be anybody's race, and you got to have friends there. And I don't know if anybody's gonna want to help me win another one. You know what I mean?
And further news, Chris Chadwick was not involved in tonight's race, which means you've put your place in the last 8 in the in-season tournament, which is good news for you. What do you know about this tournament in terms of what you can get out of that?
I hadn't really looked into it a whole lot, Tom, but it looks like it's just like a bracket head-to-head deal. I think Daytona, what's it, 8? So I'm gonna face the 8th seed this time now, whoever that is. And as long as he finishes in front of me, I'm out of the tournament.
Yeah, I'm just
Anything can
looking.
happen there.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see who you will be facing. It's either John Gardner Senior or Will Weaver. It's John Gardner Senior because he finished 9th. Will Weaver finished 16th. So it's John Gardner Senior who you'll be facing off at Daytona next week.
Yeah, I just need a good clean run. That's all I need.
Anyone you want to shout out to, Josh, before we let you go?
Yeah, SFRG, Premier Racing Setups. I'm racing for them now. They got some really good setups this week at Richmond and Michigan. and also Robert here with FTR putting on these league races.
Josh, thank you very much. Well done on your 4th victory of the season, and we'll see you next week at Daytona, where you could make it 5 from 5.
Appreciate it, Tom. Have a good one, buddy.
Thank you very much. Hamish, after all of that, we had a slight extension to the race with a late caution. It's a bit of a shame we didn't catch the checkered flag there.
I
But
blame
I
the
think we-
caution, Tom, because we went a lap longer. If we didn't get the caution, we would have actually met the checkered flag.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I agree with that. But bar that, how did you find the race?
Well, the race was good. I mean, as I said, it was a race of 2 halves. First half was obviously pretty caution-filled. Second half was then all about how well have you strategized to get you into a good position, and that there was when the importance on strategy in the first half really came together, and that's where a couple of strategies came unglued because you strategized enough where you put yourself in a good position where you needed the 1 stop to get home. Majority of people needed to take a green flag stop to get home around about lap 81 or between lap 75 and 81. But, you know, a tough line on the road for some. For Zach Tucker, well, before I got kicked from the session, he got up to P11. So whether he got a top 10 or not, I'm not sure. He did take those fresh tyres in that last caution, so that probably worked out for him pretty well. But no, it was a good race in the end. Really glad that we got to showcase it. And as I said, I do apologise that my internet decided to spike and then kick me from the server. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating, Tom. I don't like when that happens, and I can only apologise for that happening. But no, a fantastic race, and yeah, really happy I got to do this one with you this week, and it was a very exciting one on the road for us.
Yep. And just to confirm that Josh Lambert will face off John Gardner Sr. in the quarterfinal. Joseph Phelps will face off Zach Tucker. That's in quarterfinal 2. Quarterfinal 3, Robert Chappell will face off Casey Cotterman. And in quarterfinal 4, it is Juan Velez going head-to-head with Tim Johns. So those are the 8 that have qualified for the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament, which will be held in Daytona next week, as well as the latest chapter in this particular series. Hamish, thank you very much for joining me, and thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. Do make sure that you like and subscribe so you can keep right up to date with everything that's being shown on the MotorMouth Broadcasting YouTube channel, and you won't miss a thing there. It's time to wrap it up, and we'll speak to you again soon. Jim Cunning will be back in the commentary position alongside me next week. Thank you very much, Hamish, for being with me for tonight, and we'll hopefully speak to you again soon. I'm Tom Cairns, he's Hamish Munro, and we'll speak to you again soon when the Racing Paradise Truck Series Championship returns.